It was a cold, gray morning in the city. Clouds hung heavy in the sky, and the wind moved through the streets like a whisper. Outside the famous Galaxy Hospital, a black luxury car stood silently. The door opened, and a tall man in a suit stepped out. He was Mr. Haroon, a powerful businessman. Behind him, nurses carefully helped a young girl out of the car. Her name was Aisha. She sat in a wheelchair, her eyes distant, her legs still. A year ago, Aisha was full of life, running, dancing, laughing. But a terrible car accident had changed everything. Her legs no longer worked. Doctors from every country had tried to help, but no one succeeded. Mr. Haroon had spent millions, but nothing changed. His daughter still couldn't walk. As the car entered the hospital gate, a small figure watched from across the road. A boy in torn clothes, barefoot, no older than 14, sat beside a broken lamppost. His name was Zion. No one knew where he came from. Every day he sat there quietly, never begging like other street children. He just watched. Today, something felt different. Zion stood up slowly, holding a wooden stick in his hand. As Mr. Haroon walked past him, Zion stepped forward. His voice was calm, almost soft. "Sir, I can make your daughter walk again." Haroon stopped in his tracks. "What did you say?" he asked, turning around slowly. "I can help her," Zion said, eyes locked with a powerful man's. "She will walk again." The two bodyguards beside Haroon laughed. One of them shouted, "Get lost, beggar!" They moved to push Zion back, but Haroon raised his hand. "Stop," he ordered. There was something unusual in the boy's eyes, not fear, not hunger. Something peaceful, strong, almost ancient. Mr. Haroon looked down at Zion and said, "Why do you think you can do something when the best doctors couldn't?" Zion simply smiled. "Because I don't heal with machines." For a moment, there was complete silence. "Then what do you heal with?" Haroon asked, confused and curious. Zion looked at the sky. "I carry something inside me, something given to me. I don't use it for money, only when I feel pain stronger than my own." Aisha, still in her wheelchair, was watching from a distance. She couldn't hear their words, but she noticed the strange way her father was looking at the boy. Haroon slowly walked toward Zion. "If this is a joke, it's a dangerous one," he said firmly. Zion shook his head. "It's not a joke. Just give me a chance. Let me touch her legs once." "Are you a doctor?" "No." "A magician?" "No." "Then what are you?" Zion's voice dropped to a whisper. "I'm someone who knows how it feels to want to walk again." Mr. Haroon stared at him. Something inside his heart cracked. He didn't believe in miracles. He believed in eyes that held pain, and Zion's eyes were full of it. "Bring him to the house," he finally said. "Sir." The guard asked, "You heard me? Bring him. Just for one day." Zion didn't smile. He simply nodded as the car drove away with Aisha and the mysterious boy inside. The hospital staff watched in confusion. No one knew who Zion really was. But something had changed that morning. Something powerful had just begun. Zion sat quietly on the soft carpet of the grand living room. His dirty clothes and bare feet looked strange inside the millionaire's shining white mansion. Servants whispered from a distance. Some were scared, others laughed behind their hands. "A beggar boy? Healing Aisha? What madness," they muttered. But Aisha didn't laugh. She sat in her wheelchair just across from him, watching him carefully. Her eyes were tired but curious. She had seen many doctors, many machines, and many false hopes. But this boy was different. He had no tools, no rich clothes, no loud promises, only calm eyes and quiet hands. Zion turned to her slowly. "May I?" he asked gently, pointing at her legs. Aisha nodded slowly. Mr. Haroun sat behind them, silent. But watching every move, Zion knelt before Aisha and placed both hands on her legs. His hands were warm, rough, but careful. He closed his eyes. No one spoke. Seconds passed, then minutes. Everyone expected nothing. But Aisha suddenly gasped. It was small, almost nothing. But she felt it as soft tingling, like little sparks running through her toes. She hadn't felt anything there in over a year. She looked down, shocked. "Papa, I felt something," she whispered. Mr. Haroun stood up quickly. "What did you feel?" "My toes?" It was like they moved a little. Zion opened his eyes. His face was pale. Drops of sweat ran down his neck. "Stop!" The family doctor shouted from behind. "This is dangerous. This boy is no healer. He could damage her nerves." Haroun turned to him, angry. "You had 1 year and gave me nothing but failure. This boy touched her once, and she felt something." The doctor looked stunned and left the room in silence. Zion sat back, breathing slowly. "That's enough for today," he said weakly. Haroun looked down at the boy. "What? What did you do to her?" Zion shook his head. "I didn't do anything. Her body remembered something. I only reminded it." That night, something strange happened. While lying in bed, Aisha pulled her blanket up, and her right foot twitched. It moved, only for a second, but it moved. She stared at it, her hands shaking, then called out loudly, "Papa!" Mr. Haroun rushed into the room. She pointed, tears in her eyes. "Look, I think I moved it." Again, he fell to his knees beside her and touched her foot. "Can you do it again?" she tried. And again. The tiniest movement. Mr. Haroun looked at her like he was seeing his daughter for the first time. Outside the room, Zion sat alone. On the cold floor, leaning against the wall, eyes closed. His lips moved slowly, whispering words no one could understand. The next morning, the sun rose quietly over the city. But inside the millionaire's mansion, nothing felt normal. Aisha was wide awake before sunrise. Her legs had moved again slightly, but surely. She kept whispering to herself, "This is real. This is not a dream." Mr. Haroun stood outside her room, watching Zion sleep on a thin mat near the hallway. No soft bed, no pillow, just peace. On the boy's face, later that day, Haroun called Zion to the garden. "Sit," Haroun said, trying to sound calm, though his heart was full of questions. Zion sat on the grass. He placed his hands in his lap like a monk. Haroun stared at him. "I need to know the truth. You're no normal child. What are you?" Zion looked up at the sky as if the wind carried his memories. Then he spoke. "I lived in the northern hills when I was small. My parents died in a snowstorm. A monk found me near a frozen river. He carried me to a hidden shrine deep in the mountains." Haroun narrowed his eyes. "What kind of shrine?" "Not a temple. Not a place of prayer," Zion said softly. "It was a place of healing. The monk said it was built before time remembered. It had no name, no God, only energy. Warm and alive." He looked at his hands. "The monk told me I had the gift, that I could feel the pain of others like it was my own. He trained me in silence, in stillness, and in listening to the body." Haroun was quiet. He had never believed in such stories. But this boy had made his daughter's dead legs twitch. Zaya and continued. "One night the monk gave me a test. He asked me to place my hands on a dying bird. I felt its heartbeat slowing. I cried. The monk told me, 'When your tears flow, the energy flows.'" The bird opened its eyes. "Why didn't you stay there?" Haroun asked. Zion looked away. "The shrine burned down." Lightning struck it one night. The monk died. I had nowhere to go, so I walked, from village to village, till I ended up here. And you never used your gift, only twice. Both times, fainted for days. Healing takes from me. Give part of my life to others. Harun was stunned. Why would you do that for strangers? Zion answered with a quiet voice, because I know what it feels like to be broken and be ignored. A single leaf fell from a tree nearby, landing. Between them, Harun stood up slowly. If you help my daughter fully walk again, I will give you anything you want. Zion stood too. I don't want money. I just want to see her smile when she walks. That evening, Aisha smiled at Zion for the first time, but far away. Someone else was watching the mansion through binoculars, and they didn't want Aisha to walk ever again. The days passed slowly, but change was happening fast inside the mansion. Every morning, Zion would sit beside Aisha, close his eyes, and place his hands gently on her legs. Each time, she felt more warmth, tingling, pressure. She could now move her feet and even lift one knee with effort. The house was filled with quiet hope, but not everyone was happy. In the shadows of the business world, Arun's longtime rival, Mr. Kamal, watched everything with growing anger. He had always wanted Harun to suffer. Seeing Aisha broken gave him joy. Now news of a miracle beggar boy reaching the millionaire's house made him nervous. This boy is a threat. Kamal hissed to his men. If she walks again, Harun becomes untouchable. Back in the mansion, Zion finished another healing session with Aisha. His hands trembled. His eyes looked tired. Harun offered him food, but Zion always asked for only one thing: water. He ate very little, never asked for sweets or meat. Just plain food and water. One evening, a new servant entered the house. No one noticed he wasn't part of the original staff. He moved silently, smiled politely, and offered Zion a small cup of water during sunset prayers. Zayn took it with a soft nod. An hour later, he collapsed. The cup slipped from his hand. His small body hit the cold marble floor with a hard thud. Aisha screamed. Harun rushed into the hallway and saw the boy unconscious. Lips pale, breathing slow. "Call the doctor," he shouted. The doctor arrived quickly and examined Zion. "This isn't exhaustion," he said. "He's been poisoned." Poisoned? Harun's voice was thunder. Who would poison a child? The doctor looked serious. It's a slow poison. Mixed in water, hidden well. This was planned. Harun ordered his guards to check the kitchen, the staff, every camera. But the new servant was already going to vanish like smoke. Aisha cried beside Zion's bed. "Please wake up. Please. I still need you." Zion didn't move. That night, Harun sat beside Aisha, broken. "I brought this boy into our home, and now he's dying." But then something unbelievable happened. At midnight, Aisha woke up suddenly. She had a strange feeling. She looked at her legs. She moved them. She moved them both. She screamed with joy, and her voice echoed in the dark halls. Harun came running, eyes wide with shock. "Aisha, I moved them, Papa. Both of them." Harun turned toward Zion's room. The boy was still unconscious. But even in that silent sleep, he had given more of himself. And Aisha's body remembered. She wasn't walking yet, but for the first time in 1 year, hope had a heartbeat. The morning sun brought soft light into the room where Zion lay still. His chest rose and fell gently, but he hadn't opened his eyes in 2 days. Doctors said he was alive, but very weak. They didn't know when or if he would wake up again. Aisha sat beside him, holding his hand. Her legs now moved with more strength. She could even shift herself slightly in the wheelchair without help. But the joy was not complete. Gift had helped Herb, At what cost? Why did you do this? She whispered, brushing his messy hair with her fingers. Why give so much? To me. Outside the room, Mr. Haroon stood in silence. His face looked older, more tired. He had finally found a light for his daughter, but that light was fading fast. The family doctor approached him quietly. Sir, this boy, the doctor said, his body is not like others. I've never seen energy like this in a child before, but I also believe every time he heals her, it takes something from him. Haroon's hands curled into fists. Then no more. No more healing. I won't let him die for my daughter. But as they spoke, Zion's fingers moved. His eyes opened slowly. Aisha gasped. Zion, you're awake. He blinked, smiled weakly, and tried to speak. You walked. She nodded through tears. Not fully, but I'm closer than ever. Zion looked at her with peace in his eyes. Then it was worth it. Mr. Haroon rushed into the room and sat beside him. No more, Zion. I won't let you give your life. We'll find other ways. Machines, doctors, anything. Zion shook his head. They only treat the body. But her pain wasn't just in her legs, it was in her heart. That's what needed healing. Haroon's voice cracked. But you're just a child. You shouldn't carry this kind of burden. I carry it because I was born with it, Zion said, his voice quiet but steady. And I promised the monk that one day I'd give someone a chance to smile again. Haroon closed his eyes. Then tell me what you want, Zion. Anything. A house, a future, education. Just name it. Zion looked at him and gave a soft smile. I don't want money, sir, but I do want something. Anything, Haroon said firmly. Let me stay, just until she walks. Aisha looked up, her eyes shining, and after that, Haroon asked. Zion paused. Then I'll go, wherever I'm needed. But trouble was already crawling closer. From far across the city, Mr. Kamal sat with a photo of Zion in hand. That boy survived, he whispered to himself, but he won't next time. He smiled darkly. As the city moved like normal, no one knew that another storm was coming, and this time it would not come quietly. Was a quiet night in the mansion. The guards stood near the gates. The servants had gone to bed. The air smelled of flowers, and the wind was calm. Inside the house, Aisha sat near the window in her wheelchair. Zion was asleep in the corner of her room, breathing softly. She had started practicing little steps with help. Each time she moved, her heart beat faster, not from fear, but hope. I think I'll walk soon, she whispered, smiling at her reflection in the glass. But across the city, evil plans were already moving. Mr. Kamal, Haroon's jealous business enemy, had made his final decision. I want the mansion burned, he told his men. I don't care who's inside. Let the boy vanish, and take their hope with him. That night, two dark figures climbed over the mansion's wall. They poured something oily around the outer walls. A match was lit. Within seconds, fire began to crawl up the building like a hungry beast. It was past midnight when the smell reached Zion's nose. He woke up coughing, eyes stinging from smoke. He ran to the door. Hot metal burned his hand. Fire! He screamed. Aisha, wake up! Aisha opened her eyes, choking on smoke. Flames had already reached the lower floor. The lights blinked. Alarms didn't work. Zion grabbed a wet towel and tied it around her face. I'll carry you. No. Aisha cried. I can't let you. Not again. You'll collapse. Zion looked into her eyes. Then walk. Aisha's heart pounded. I can't. Yes, Zion said softly, you can. Outside, Mr. Haroon had already escaped and was shouting orders. My daughter, Zion. They're still inside. Guards tried to break through the smoke, but it was too thick, too hot. Inside, Aisha pushed herself up. Her legs trembled, her knees shook, but Zion held her hand. One step, just one. She cried, "I'm scared." "I am too," he said. "But do it anyway." With one step, her foot touched the ground, then the other. She screamed, but didn't fall. Zion held her steady. "Good. Now, keep going." Step by step, they moved toward the staircase. The roof above them creaked. Fire danced on every wall. Smoke filled their lungs. But Aisha kept walking. Outside, Harun fell to his knees in tears. "I lost them," he whispered. Then a miracle. The front door burst open. Smoke poured out, and through it, Aisha walked step by step, with Zion beside her. Her face black, with smoke, eyes red with tears, but standing. Everyone froze. Harun ran to her, crying, "You walked. You walked." She fell into his arms, and he held her like he'd never let go. Zion collapsed behind them, his body weak, but his smile never brighter. The morning sun rose slowly over the burnt mansion. Smoke still floated in the air, and ashes covered the ground. Fire trucks had come and gone. People stood outside the gates, whispering about the fire, the mystery boy, and the girl who walked through flames. Inside a small recovery room set up by emergency workers, Zion lay on a bed. His face was pale, and his breathing was weak. But he was alive. Aisha sat beside him, not in a wheelchair this time, but on her own 2 feet. Her legs were shaky, but they worked. She reached out and held Zion's hand. "You saved me," she whispered. Zion opened his eyes slowly. His lips moved, voice soft like wind. "No, you saved yourself. I just believed in you." Tears filled her eyes. "You gave everything, even when you had nothing." Zion gave her a weak smile. That's what the gift was for. Mr. Harun entered the room quietly, his suit dusty, his eyes full of emotion. He knelt beside the boy and placed his hand on his chest. "I owe you everything, Zion. My daughter walks because of you. What can I give you in return?" Zion looked at him with tired eyes. "Just a promise. Anything. Promise me. She will live without fear, that you'll never let anyone break her again." Harun nodded, tears in his eyes. "I promise." Zion closed his eyes and his breathing slowed. Aisha squeezed his hand. "Don't go, please." But Zion whispered, "I'm not going far. Just ... to rest." And then he grew still. The room became silent. Aisha placed her forehead on his hand and cried, not in pain, but in love. 3 days later, a small crowd gathered in a peaceful mountain village. Harun had Zion buried near a river, under a large tree filled with singing birds. A white stone was placed above his grave. It read, "Zion, the boy who gave hope." People from the city came to visit the grave. Stories spread like fire about a beggar boy who could heal with his hands, who gave his life for a girl who had lost hers. Weeks passed. Aisha now walked without help. She went to schools and hospitals, sharing her story, giving others courage. She wore a necklace with a tiny wooden bead, the only thing Zion had carried with him when he arrived. One day, she visited the mountain where Zion once lived with the monk. She sat by the river, watching the sun reflect on the water. "Thank you," she whispered. "You didn't just fix my legs. You healed my heart." A soft wind blew, and the trees seemed to bow. A bird landed near her feet and chirped once, then flew high into the sky. Aisha smiled, because sometimes even the smallest soul leaves the biggest mark.